Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. This is the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of Manhattan Lincoln Center. It is our honor to introduce Mathew Knowles, founder and CEO of Music World Entertainment. Good to see you.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
When did you get fascinated by the entertainment music world?
Well, as a kid, I did. You know, I was a DJ at 12 years old. You know, I lived in the South. My parents used to go to church on Sundays and then have Sunday dinner. And then they would go and dance in the living room that we were prohibited in going to. It had the plastic over the sofa. They would dance, and I would have to put the quarter, nickel, and dime on top of the needle to make sure the vinyl didn't skip. So I finally learned a playlist and just got fascinated by music.
When did you know that you had not just one, but two daughters, Beyoncé and Solange, who are extremely talented in different ways? When did you know? Well,
Talent is one thing and a gift is another.
Is it different?
Oh, big.
Go ahead.
Big a big difference. You can develop a star through hard work, but these kids were born as stars, and they were passionate about music. That's all they wanted to do. Since they were little kids, is sing and dance, sing and dance. So, you know, a role of a parent is to surround your kids and give them all the tools that they need to be successful. I didn't care what they did in life. I just wanted them to be happy, wanted them to be successful.
You didn't have to push.
I didn't have to push at all. I go around the country and I say, what's the difference of knowing when your kid really is passionate is if you have to tell them to go to practice, then you know it's a hobby.
Trust me, I've been there.
Did you know?
I said, how much you love baseball? I don't want to work that hard. I get, you know. Anyway,
it's okay.
It is okay.
It's okay.
And pushing isn't always the best thing.
Yeah.
So tell us about this. By the way, Mathew has a new book coming out. Title is?
Destiny's Child, The Untold Story. And came out actually 2 days ago.
Okay, by the way, we're taping at the end, middle of December. Go get the book.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, the book is...
Right, so the book comes in, but it's got... Is there a companion album or is it a different album?
There's an album, companion album.
What's on there?
What's on there is 16 songs of girls' time. I mean, it was eight groups before Destiny's Child. And so this is 1992. Beyonce was 11 years old. These kids went to Star Search, which is like American Idol today,
right.
And they lost. Ed McMahon was the host, and the girls are crying their eyes out. And
How'd you deal with it?
Mr. McMahon, what do I do? He says, hey, you know, all the people that continuously win on this show, they never do well professionally. He said, it's the ones that lose, that go back, rededicate, refocus, make changes. And that's what we did. I got involved. The previous managers went their way. We made changes in the girls and continue to grow. They got signed to Elektra Record, got dropped.
They got dropped.
Got dropped.
Somebody thought they didn't have it? Really?
Yeah, somebody thought they didn't have it. Then they had talked to Columbia Records in the middle of the audition. I told the executives, I'm sorry you came down to Houston. Yeah. The girls are not focused, they're not ready. Wow. So I killed that deal because they were too young.
You were managing, you were taking care of it at the time.
They were too young.
Right.
They were too young.
And you knew that.
And I knew that.
You know, the other thing about you, you're so candid about so many things. There are two issues I want to talk to you about. One, you've been open about the fact that you have dealt with breast cancer.
Yes, I call it male chest cancer. I don't think that's an appropriate name for men.
Why do you frame it that way?
Because it's the #1 thing that keep men from going to the doctor, to getting an exam. And I can relate to opening a door that says Women Breast Center. That's an embarrassing moment. And that's the #1 thing that why men don't want to go and get exam and go to the doctor for this. They're ashamed of it.
Send the message right now.
I'm sending the message.
Tell them right now what they need to do.
They need to go to the doctor immediately, not tomorrow, today, and get a mammogram and get checked.
The other thing is you've been awfully candid and put out some things that really are worth talking about, particularly around the quote-unquote colorism. Define it.
Well, colorism in a lot of countries in the world is based on the shade of color. Even if you go to Mexico, the darker skinned Mexicans are the workers, the farmers, low income. India, same thing. It's no different in America. Even with black people, this was imposed upon us. I mean, this wasn't something we want, but during slavery, our female slaves were raped. And the shade of color of their kids were different. They were treated different on the farm. Some of them lived in a big house. And as time went on in society, even today, the lighter complexion blacks are sometimes treated differently. And that's a form of colorism.
What do we need to do, other than talk about it as candidly as you are right now?
Well, we need to do more of that, talk about it candidly. And again, this was imposed upon black women, and there's a difference there.
Does it play out in the entertainment industry even more?
It did. If you look at it and think about it, the highly successful females, not so much men, this is more female.
Yes.
You look at Mariah Carey, Beyoncé, and I can go on and on and on.
Well, I shouldn't say back in the day because she's still young and talented. Halle Berry was talked about in a certain way. That genre, if you will, or there's not one color, but you think there's long-standing discrimination against women of color depending upon the shade, the color of their skin.
But I see that changing. I see it changing in commercials. I see it changing in movies. I see a huge shift in that.
Well, we're playing catch-up.
Playing catch-up.
It's just
But
wrong.
you know, as a kid, my mother used to say to me, don't ever bring some black nappy-head girl to my home. And I talk about that in my second book, Racism from the Eyes of a Child. You know, I grew up in Gaston, Alabama in the 50s, and I never went to a black school. My mother went to high school at Coretta King, and I was always the first. One of the first in junior high, high school, University of Tennessee. And so I experienced all of this.
So it's so interesting. You don't just mean it's important conversation for all of us, but particularly important in the black community to have a candid discussion about it. Right?
And it's happening as we speak. I see more change, and I'm very proud of the change that's happening.
Well, a lot of that's because of you. The book, tell everyone the name again.
Destiny's Child, The Untold Story.
This is a story you're not going to hear anywhere else, right?
No, because nobody knows this story. You know, there's so many innuendos out there and false statements.
You got the story.
I wanted to really tell it truthfully.
I'm sorry for interrupting. You've made a decision. You want to be more their dad than you do their manager. I just want to clarify that.
Absolutely. I love the role of dad and granddad, and I'm proud to do that today.
Beautiful. And also there's an album that goes with it?
Absolutely. It's Destiny's Child, An Untold Story featuring Girls Time.
How many songs?
16.
Mathew Knowles is founder and CEO of Music World Entertainment, and you honor us by joining us here at WNET. Compelling stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
Stay right there. I'm Steve Adubato. This is the Tisch WNET studio. We'll be back right after this with One-on-One.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, United Airlines, New Jersey Sharing Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, New Jersey Resources, Seton Hall University, Adler Aphasia Center, and by St. Joseph's Health. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by Insider NJ. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.